Icarus. Alive and kicking. Good to hear it. Come back here, Paul.
Noah?
Crap, Faith. All those Kruger-sec, they're headed toward the lair. Raided. We're being raided.
Noah! Say something!
Kruger-sec is jamming us. We have to go back, Faith. Meet you there.
Damn it! Go faster!
Mirror's Edge was unlike any other first-person game I played. It's a parkour game where the emphasis is on movement around the top of skyscrapers rather than slaying monsters or shooting people. The gameplay of the first one was quite good, I'd say, and unique outside of the combat. The combat was simply spam. It was bad, but the movement was tight and fun. Mirror's Edge was asking and answering a question. What would a parkour game look like? And they got it pretty good, I'd say, but it could be so much better. That is what Mirror's Edge Catalyst achieved, a more expansive parkour game, but because of certain details, it's unlikely another will come out. Let's talk about it. You play as Faith, a runner, and you've just been released from prison. You meet up with a fellow runner, Icarus, who frees you from the mainframe that the prison guards have put you under as part of your release. And you escape to the runner hideout with him. There you meet Noah, the leader of the runners, and together you will be doing deliveries and evading Kruger-sec, the megacorp that runs the city. The story sucks, the writing is bad, and if you played Mirror's Edge then you'll recognize that a lot of the same exact plot points happen in Catalyst, they're just structured differently. I really just don't care about these characters, and they make the mistake of having the characters already know each other without us knowing the characters. Now, this obviously has been done before a lot in media, and sometimes it's done well, other times it's done poorly. I believe this is one of the poor examples. It also doesn't help that this game has a completely unresolved ending. Literally everything stays the same. All your efforts throughout the campaign mean nothing.
But I'll make twice the money.
Oh my god, I finished Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Holy shit, guys, that's good. Alright, that story was garbage, okay?
Can we expect a video?
Holy shit.
Can we expect a video?
Yeah, this by far is not a story-driven game. This is, however, gameplay-driven, because this gameplay is really good. All of the movement options from Mirror's Edge make a return, with a new ability being a grappling hook. These at first are locked off because now there's a skill tree system, but this isn't an issue because you get XP for doing literally everything in the game. This skill tree is exactly what you would expect it to be. Movement options, more health, more damage, etc. I see this as a good evolution of the gameplay because they keep the core the same, but they add on to it, as every sequel should do. To complement the type movement, Mirror's Edge Catalyst has an open world to explore, filled with different types of time trials. You can do deliveries, which are pretty challenging because they give you no room for error, time trials, and player-created runs. I dabbled in deliveries at the beginning, but over time I found myself just doing time trials. They're pretty fun and competitive. They give you a set route to learn the area, but since this game is open world, you can discover alternate routes that are better to get the 3-star rating. And after you get the 3 stars, you can try to optimize it further to get a better leaderboard rank. This is definitely the highlight of this game as far as I'm concerned. Now, there's also combat, and this time around, it's pretty good. It isn't perfect, and it definitely feels a little dated at this point, but nonetheless, it is a solid combat system. This time around, instead of just spamming your attack button, you have light attack, heavy attack, and dodge. But that's not all. You can attack to run past enemies to keep your momentum. You can wall run and kick. You can slide and kick. You can jump and kick. You can zipline and kick. And with the talent unlock, you can take someone, flip them around, and expose their back to deal more damage. The combat is very freeform, which is great. It makes me feel like a hand-to-hand specialist, Kung Fu Master. All the more special to me because I play a monk in WoW. There are gameplay objectives surrounding combat as well. There are towers you can take down and it spawns a bunch of enemies. And you can also cause a diversion for another runner, which will make you run through crowds of guards and chain them together so your runner can make the delivery. This content goes pretty well with the new focus bar, which is basically a shield that you build up by doing parkour. Enemies who hit you don't deal health damage to you, and bullets will miss you, which solves the gun issue in Mirror's Edge because those motherfuckers were annoying. This just adds to the fantasy of being a runner who is so fast and nimble they can't even be hit by bullets. Overall, they got the gameplay right with this one, and if you're into the fantasy of being a parkour runner who's also really good at hand-to-hand combat, I think you're going to like this. Now, a massive reason why this game is so enjoyable for me is that it is an actual PC version. No more file editing. They give you all the options you would want to tweak. This PC port is solid. And also on my build, which is a 2080 GPU and a Ryzen 7 CPU, I destroyed this game. Okay, consistent 144 FPS. Mirror's Edge Catalyst is a very big improvement on Mirror's Edge in terms of gameplay, but in terms of story, it's still just bad. And because of that, I'm gonna have to give this game a 7. If the gameplay wasn't so good, it would have easily been like a 5 or a 6. But the gameplay really does carry it, which all games should do if you think about it. The reason why I don't see another Mirror's Edge coming out is because the first one was mixed on launch. And also, the first one was a 4-hour game in total. This one is not a 4-hour game. This is... Let me check, actually. So, dabbling in some side content, because I definitely didn't do everything on the map, it took me 11 hours. Almost 12 hours to play, which is pretty substantial, I'd say. But Mirror's Edge Catalyst, even though it has so much more in gameplay, it was still mixed. The same as Mirror's Edge. And hey, I'm giving it a 7, you know? So, because of that, I don't really see another one coming out, which sucks because of how good they got the gameplay this time around, but oh well. To me, this will probably go down as a hidden gem. It's something I would recommend for sure. Like, it's kind of niche. It's really the only game of its kind. Well, Dying Light is pretty similar, but this has tighter movement, I'd say. But yeah, that's all.